Right guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And one of the key storylines I'm keeping my eyes on here going into Stage 4 is the Los Angeles Thieves. They made pretty much the blockbuster change of the season, if not a number of seasons now, bringing Huke over from the Dallas Empire after he just won the World Championship on that team last season, now on the Los Angeles Thieves. However, if anything, they've actually got worse since he joined the lineup. What is exactly going on here? Can they turn things around at Stage 4? And if they don't, what questions does it raise about Huke as an individual, but also this Los Angeles Thieves squad and what they might have to do going forwards? Enjoy taking your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. And of course, this happened on the 4th of May, 20 days ago from as I'm recording this video, when Huke officially does join the Los Angeles Thieves. Remarkable stuff, you've got to say. I mean, this is still one of the most mind-blowing changes I have seen, only a few months after winning the World Championship, really, on Dallas Empire. Clearly, things internally on that team fell apart. Was that Huke's fault? Was that the rest of the team's fault? Who really knows? Maybe we will never know. But yeah, if he does turn up on the Los Angeles Thieves, I'm sure that Dallas Empire were probably considering initially after this change, especially given they've now brought in Vivid, and now they have effectively Vivid for Huke after this few weeks of chaos that Dallas Empire have been going through. Then, yeah, clearly they find themselves in a little bit of a tough spot. Maybe they kind of wish they still had Huke back on the team. Maybe not, though, given the fact that Los Angeles Thieves haven't exactly been looking spectacular since he has joined their squad. This I thought was pretty cool, actually, that came out from GG Breaking Point yesterday. This is way back in 2018 on this day. Rated dropped 19 kills in a Search and Destroy versus Envoy. And this Search and Destroy team at the time was, well, it actually had Huke on it, right? I'm pretty sure, well, you can see as it replays here in just a second. But it was Huke, I'm pretty sure it was Chino, Decimate, and Classic actually on this squad at the time. And there was a similar team that Envoy had right at the start of the season, which was also pretty tragic. And when we go on to look in a few minutes' time here about Huke's career results, if you guys are relatively new to the scene, you might be kind of surprised to see Huke's career results being pretty lackluster, to be honest, through the vast majority of his career, pretty much until last year on the Dallas Empire. Very interesting to see that the only team that Huke has ever won on in Call of Duty has been that Dallas Empire squad, which especially if things don't really go too well for Los Angeles Thieves here, I think the questions will start to be raised again as they were a few years ago about, well, you know, Huke's actually ability to win on some of these organizations. But his ability to win on the Dallas Empire is certainly not up in question at all, as you can see right here. The rings that come through from Dallas not too long ago now. Of course, Clayster was also on this team at the time, clearly a crucial piece of that team, given that it's not too long away from, well, and not too long away from this moment till 11th of February when this was initially tweeted out from the Dallas Empire. Then now their team is completely imploded and now they've got a completely different player. So it's very strange stuff to be able to see how this has developed over these last several months. But yeah, one of the more remarkable things that we have seen. And we saw yesterday in the All-Star game, Octane was playing with Huke, of course, on his All-Star lineup. A pretty damn good one, but they ended up falling in the grand finals just short to team chance, as we discussed earlier today. But well, as Octane says, Sam, where do I go with an AR? Because Huke had to use an AR a little bit on this map because they needed to on raid hardpoint, for example. Color with 2 seconds left unloaded on the raid hardpoint. And as you tend to see in the YouTube chat when something like this happens, hey, Hastro Nate here wants Huke back, right? Because there was some discussion initially, the fact that when Dallas Empire made the change, do they want a refund to get Huke back? But now it's like, okay, hang on a second, is Huke maybe not looking so good on the Thieves? They've actually got significantly worse, you could argue, since he's joined the squad. Maybe Nate's trying to change Huke or trade Huke back, of course. Certainly not, of course, because Huke is an unbelievably talented player. I don't want to understate that by any means. However, his ability to win in some of these teams has been up in question really the last couple of years. I think fans have certainly questioned that, despite the pros saying for many, many years now that he's one of the hottest talents that Call of Duty has ever seen, and Halo, of course, before that. So let's look at Los Angeles Thieves real quick. Main AR Ken is a mad lad, says Lion Man. These were their statistics throughout the entirety of Stage 3. Started off pretty well, but then, well, since they brought Huke in, it wasn't exactly great. I think Lion Man actually says right here that the stats for Huke includes his final victory on Dallas up against Paris right at the start of Stage 3. But yeah, Huke here with an 86 overall. Hardpoint KD not exactly spectacular. Control KD nothing incredible going on, of course. And, you know, all things considered, across the board you can see in terms of kills per 10 minutes and such, had a very good performances here. Damage per 10 minutes as well, especially in control, was pretty damn impressive. So the overall number goes up as a result of that. So Huke obviously having some impact, but not you know, completely stellar impact that we may have seen from other organizations. I mean, of course, for example, you look at Minnesota Rokkr, they brought in Standy. This guy was dropping absolute numbers from day one. So we'll have a look at what the guys on the flank had to say about this a couple of days ago, saying that, look, if anything, Thieves, since they brought in Huke, have got worse. What exactly do they do here? They don't want to send Huke anywhere, right? They're not going to trade Huke anytime soon. I guess they're going to consider changing around other pieces of the team if they want to take further steps in the right direction, if they feel like they need to. Of course, they haven't done so far. Maybe they'll continue improving throughout Stage 4. That's certainly something I'll be keeping my eyes on. But if they don't, what questions does it raise?
I mean, either way, I mean, like, I watched them scrim, right?
Fair.
Like, I think they went from a top 3 team, and I think most of the pro teams would agree. They got worse with Huke, and I wouldn't say that's Huke's fault or anything. It's just sometimes certain players fit into a certain system in a certain way, and Thieves have not looked as good since the change.
Well, they had a system that was working and they changed it, which is
They were
just
also playing a lot of checkmate though, which teams were like. One thing you have to realize too is their map pool is going to move a little bit because teams are not going to be like, okay, we'll just play you guys on 2 or 3 checkmate maps a series. So they're having to extend the pool a little bit. I do agree with Zen though. Like that is a big question mark to me. How do they make Kyler fit, and is there a clock on it? Because they also, while they do have a lot of points and they're sitting right now at 6 to 170, like you want to try and get into the top 4 to get better seating in the major. So times of essence to kind of find your squad and lock it in. So I'm curious now with all the players that they have in their stable with TJ and Slasher, like they can make some rotations within their squad if they want to find the best fit of 4 players that work.
So these are the results so far this season for the Los Angeles Thieves. This initial red line is where, I'm pretty sure they had a few roster changes before this, like Temp was out the team or whatever, but this is when they finally dropped Slasher, not necessarily finally dropped him, it was only in April, but I think they get Slasher out the team, they bring in Drazah, and they go forward with this team of Venom, TJ, Kenny, and Drazah as it was at the time. And they looked great, honestly, for these couple of weeks. They had a good result at the major before losing to Toronto. Then in group play for stage 3, they only lost to Atlanta FaZe with this squad. So you're thinking, okay, wow, pretty impressive, especially this victory against OpTic Chicago was very good indeed with TJ on the 2nd of May. 2 days later though, given the whole Dallas Empire stuff was going on with Huke, they then decide to sign Huke as well. Now, very impressive move I think from Thieves, definitely praise it at the time, that the willingness to go out and get a player like this, a player of that caliber. But since then, I mean look, they've lost to the subliners, there's no real shame in losing to the subliners, they're very clearly very good, and they lost to them in their final match of the group home series or whatever, through Dallas, and that was of course the final match they played in the groups for stage 3 before going on to the major, where they then lost to Florida Mutineers. Now this is kind of the not necessarily the unforgivable one, you do lose series from time to time, but this is the series where you kind of look at the series that they had since they got rid of, since they put Slasher on the bench, let's just say, and all they lost to was Toronto and FaZe, and now New York, right, some of the top teams, but a loss to Florida thrown into the mix there, and a pretty convincing one, all things considered. A 3-1 defeat was not exactly something they were looking for. They dominated Ravens the next day, which was pretty impressive, all things considered. Not necessarily dominated, I'm pretty sure the Search and Destroy was round 11 and the Control was round 5, but a 3-0 victory there was impressive, but then the defeat to Toronto Ultra again in losers round 4. So Thieves, I mean, they're 1-3 since adding Huke to the team, not exactly spectacular, not exactly the initial turnaround they were looking for, and as Nadeshot says right here, when they did beat OpTic not too long ago, Kenny is a terror with the AR, love all the boys at OpTic, but damn, it feels good to win one of these, and with OpTic improving right now and Thieves, if anything, looking worse, will they win another one of these anytime soon? Of course, they are going to be playing in the groups going forward in just a few days' time. I suppose we're going to be seeing them play each other. Actually, I think it's a couple of weeks away. Actually, yeah, it's the final match of the entire stage, so probably a fair bit away at this point, but still, we will see these two teams match up. What will they be looking like at the time? Wanted to share this with you guys. So, this is Huke's career in, well, not exactly in a nutshell. This is his entire career in Call of Duty history since the Advanced Warfare days, when pretty much it was Advanced Warfare who came on the scene, and so many pros were like, damn, this kid is absolutely incredible, and one of the most talented players we have seen, especially in Advanced Warfare. We see this guy dropping absolute numbers. He was ridiculous on the map. Then he goes to Halo for quite a while because the age restriction comes into effect, turns 18 and comes back in World War II. So World War II, pretty tragic team, right? This Envy squad, Slasher, Huke, Temp, and Classic, they kind of bring back a team that they played with a little bit back in Advanced Warfare days. You see right at the end here on Denial at the World Finals. They bring back that team under Envy, and doesn't go well. Slasher ends up leaving this team, goes to Rise Nation, of course, has success over there, and Huke finds himself in a tough spot really through the entirety of the World War II season. So at this time, the questions were being raised about Huke. Wow, okay, this guy, everyone's talking about him, all the pros say he's incredibly good, but hang on a second, where exactly are the results that back up the talk, I suppose, from a lot of the pro players? And if you ask the average Call of Duty fan, like 2-3 years ago, who's the most overrated player in Call of Duty, a lot of people might say Huke, they might have said Temp, they'd probably said some of the players on this Envy team that weren't having results despite being gassed to high heaven, I suppose. And the end of the World War II season as well wasn't great. We saw that team with Huke, Classic, Chino, and Decimate, the rated was dropping 19 kills on. Then we go into Black Ops 4, similar thing, this Envy team was pretty tragic. They came 4th at London with this kind of strange team with ILLey, Decimate, and fair of course as it was at the time. And then Huke wasn't very happy about this after they come top 16 in Anaheim. They trade him to Splice, a team that on theory was very good, and still, they don't have good results at all, come top 16 of the World Championship. So Huke never won a championship at all throughout all this time. Then of course he joins the Dallas Empire and has a phenomenal result throughout that last season, winning the World Championships, of course. So clearly Huke kind of had TJHaLy's redemption arc in a sense. The fact that for many years people are like, okay, this guy's overrated, he can't win, he just can't get over the line despite all the talent that he has, and then last season he managed to do it. However, we're now sitting here in Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War on a Los Angeles Thieves team, or well, really a Dallas Empire team at the start of the season, which still couldn't quite get over the line at some of these major tournaments, that no longer has Clayster, right? And this is what you've got to wonder. Clayster brings a lot to a team, clearly. He's doing a lot for the Huke subliners right now. Was he a crucial component that got the best out of Huke in that sense, that actually could get this team over the line? Because without Clayster on the team, Huke still has failed to win a championship, right? So I think there's just some interesting questions being raised. Huke has clearly proven himself last season, and not only is he incredibly talented, but he can also win events. But at the end of the day, there's interesting questions for Los Angeles Thieves, especially going into a group which isn't exactly easy up against FaZe, OpTic, Minnesota, Rokkr could be improved. Of course, Paris and Seattle really have to, well, put on a charge here, and they're trying to win, of course, every single series at this point, because if they don't, then, I mean, their World Championship dreams are effectively in tatters already. So I'm intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Did Los Angeles Thieves get worse with the addition of Huke? What should they do about it, right? So if this doesn't work, I guess you bring TJ back for Venom, right? Maybe you consider that throughout Stage 4. You're never getting rid of Huke. You've paid an incredible amount of money for him. You're, of course, going to keep Kenny and Huke. I'm not really sure exactly what you do necessarily next season. Maybe you think about bringing in an Octane or something to that effect. And clearly Huke, incredibly talented. There's no doubt about it. Don't want to understate that, as I said earlier. But still, the effectiveness of this guy to get over the line in tournaments is up for debate. And Los Angeles Thieves clearly want to win tournaments. And they have something to prove, certainly this stage to prove indeed to me. And the rest of the fans that they indeed can be the team to do so come at the Stage 4 Major, Stage 5 Major, and the World Championship. Wanted to go through a few interesting things to finish off the video. This, first of all, from Lyman, Stage 3 cards from the OpTic guys. Dashy overall actually has a 75 overall. You can see the reason why, though, because when you zoom in here, in terms of kills per round and kills per 10 minutes in the control, pretty low compared to the rest of the leagues. That's kind of why he gets a lower performance. But here at the Stage 3 Major, gets an 88 overall. So definitely a massive turnaround from Dashy's Stage 3. I mean, this is like full Stage 3, so including the Major. So his performance pre-Major was pretty tragic. There's no doubt about that, but really turned things around. This interesting as well from Doug Lieb over at the, the Los Angeles Guerrillas, talking about doing some simulations of how many CDL points will be needed to make the World Championship. And of course, you need top 8. So seems like based on these simulations or whatever, 50% of them teams need to get about 220 points to get over the line. So that's kind of the magic number for some of these teams. And of course, you've got some teams sitting down there at like 40, 50, 60, which is of course not looking great for them already, given there's only a couple of stages left to go right here. And this is why there was a land that came back and asked his tweets about it. Holy hell, the comeback does arrive. Hypno dropped the monitor as this guy's absolutely fired across the stage. I'm pretty sure he gets to the other side. He drops his monitor, probably all his prize winning score, that, and by the time he gets here, he just, he's come down a little bit, hits the fist bump on the other team. So yeah, just hilarious stuff. Lands only a matter of time until it is, of course, returning. And well, speaking of an absolute monster in a LAN environment, here's Crim IRL pulling out a Haggy stringer finger on the FAL from way back in Black Ops 2. Just dominating, I don't even know what he's shooting at, I guess the trees or something like that, with his $35,000 night vision goggles on. But do take your thoughts in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm. Like you enjoyed this content, other people like you may enjoy this content as well. And I've grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care, and I will see you next time.